Hello everyone, welcome to the biology class. So last time we started the topic of features of organisms, and in that topic we talked a little bit about five kingdom system and a couple of other topics. Now what are we going to do is that we are going to talk about those five kingdoms a little bit in more detail. So the first kingdom we are going to talk about is kingdom Prokaryotes or Prokaryote. If you remember last time, I told you whenever you see the word prokaryote, the first thing that should come to your mind is bacteria. So bacteria are the examples of prokaryotic cells. You can call them prokaryotes. Now I will draw the diagram, show you how a generalized structure of bacteria might be represented. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the shapes of bacteria. So you cannot observe bacteria with your naked eye, but you can observe them with light microscope and in much more detail with electron microscope. Okay. Observation through light or electron microscope. If you observe them with the help of light or electron microscope, light microscope is easily available in almost all the major schools. If you observe them with microscope, you would see that bacteria exist in a bunch of different shapes. All right. Now the major shapes are: number one, the cocci bacteria, singular coccus. They are basically the oval or spherical bacteria. Another shape, a famous one, are the bacilli. Singular bacillus, they are the rod-shaped bacteria. And then there could be some spring-shaped bacteria or spiral-shaped bacteria. Spiral-shaped. And they have some subcategories as well. Now, if we go into the detail, you can say some of the bacteria can also exist in the form of chains. Some bacteria are just unicellular, single independent cells, that's it. And some exist as chains, right? So these are the things you have to keep in mind. The oval-shaped bacteria would look something like that. The rod-shaped bacteria would look like this, and spiral-shaped bacteria would or probably would look like that. Okay. Now let's go into the detailed structure of bacteria. The structural components of a generalized prokaryotic or bacterial cell. If you remember, a bacterial cell usually have a cell wall. Not all of them. So this cell wall is always outside the cell membrane. So cell membrane is the major barrier. We would discuss in full detail what the cell membrane is made of and all that. But outside the cell wall, cell membrane, there is a cell wall. The cell wall usually, doesn't matter it's bacteria or plant, it's a kind of like a rigid structure. It's relatively rigid structure. It would maintain the shape. So cell wall decide what would be the shape of the bacteria. That allows you to think that what if there is no cell wall? Are there bacteria which do not have a cell wall? Yes, there are. Mycoplasma and a few others. If they don't have a cell wall, then their shape could be slightly changeable. But if they have a cell wall, the shape would be fixed. Now, outside the cell wall, some bacteria, not all of them, would have a slime capsule. Outside cell wall. Okay, so what's the purpose of this slime capsule? As the name suggests, it's slimy or sticky in nature, right? This capsule or slime capsule allows the bacteria to form colonies. Help bacteria form colonies, stick together and make colonies. Slimy nature would allow them to evade white blood cells if those bacteria enter into our bloodstream. And that's how they would result in causing diseases in our body. So that's all about cell wall. Now, the other thing you need to know, as we discussed, that they are prokaryotic cells. So they have no nucleus plus no membrane bound organelles. We discussed that in the previous lesson, right? If they don't have a nucleus, right, and they don't have membrane bound organelles like mitochondria, chloroplast, okay, then where is their DNA? So they don't have a nucleus, right, but they do have a large DNA molecule, a large double strand, two-strand or two-chain DNA molecule. You can say it's a circular DNA molecule, double strand, circular DNA molecule at the center of cytoplasm without a membrane. So there is no membrane, okay? There is no nuclear membrane. It's just sitting there at the center, okay? Apart from that, some bacteria, I'm saying some bacteria, not all of them, they would have plasmids. So these are extra chromosomal or extra, these large DNA, circular large DNA molecule, we call it nucleoid. It's called nucleoid. You can call it chromosome, but this is not actually a chromosome, okay? Apart from that, they might have plasmids. Plasmids are small, circular or you can say rings of DNA other than chromosomes. They would have only a few genes. For example, disease-causing genes are present sometimes that would cause diseases in plants and animals, and sometimes like insect-resistant genes or metal-resistant genes that would help bacteria resist metals, protect the bacteria against insects, metals, etc. So those are plasmids. That's a unique feature in bacteria. Now, if we look at the size of bacterial cells, right, it's much smaller and the cell is much simpler. Smaller than plant or animal cells. In general, we are talking about in general, right? A couple of micrometers, right? So what next? Some bacteria might even have a flagellum. Flagellum, plural is flagella, right? Flagella, which is like a whip-like structure or a thread-like structure, long thread of protein, help in locomotion. Locomotion means to locomote, to change the location, right? In response to some chemical, through water maybe, or other fluids. Right? Let me draw a generalized structure of bacteria. So let's say this is a rod-shaped bacteria. This is the cell membrane, okay? Okay. So this is the cell membrane. Let's label it. Label it later. This is the cell wall. Not all bacteria would have it, but this bacteria does have it. Okay? And right from beneath the cell membrane, there comes a whip-like, a thread-like structure called the flagellum, right? So let's talk about that. Okay? Yeah. Then right at the center, there would be a double-stranded large DNA molecule like that. A bunch of other DNA molecules, smaller ring shape, we call them plasmids. Ribosomes are there, smaller ribosomes. The prokaryotes have smaller ribosomes. So yeah, that's it. Some granules are there which would store extra food for the bacteria to use later on. That's all. That's the structure of bacteria. Let's label it. Okay, so this is flagellum. This doesn't look good. Let me change the color. Okay, so this is flagellum. Right? This is cell membrane. Which is the main barrier, controls the traffic in and out of the cell. This is cell wall. Cell wall. This is nucleoid, which is the major DNA All right. These are the storage food reserves, storage food particles. This and this one are the ribosomes, and this is the plasmid. One plasmid. All right. So what's left? I think we got almost everything. Okay. So yeah, that's a generalized structure of a prokaryote, of a bacteria, right? Now, we will discuss a little bit more about bacteria, how do they grow, etc. Diseases caused by bacteria when we discuss pathogens, right? But for now, you just need to memorize. You just need to keep that in mind. The bacteria are prokaryotes. They don't have nucleus. They don't have membrane-bound organelles like mitochondria, chloroplasts, etc. They exist in multiple shapes. They have cell walls sometimes, okay, and sometimes plasmids as well. They have flagella for the movement, for locomotion. All right. So if you have any questions related to prokaryotes or any previous topic, do let me know. We can discuss it, or just comment at the bottom of the video. All right. Take care. Thank you.